April 26, 2004, Perry, Georgia. 4 teenagers steal a car and lead officers Chris Sutcliffe, Eric Barnett, and others on a high-speed chase. It looks like the kids are on a joyride. What the officers don't know is that they're armed and very dangerous.
I was probably on the phone talking to my friend for 4 or 5 minutes when I noticed a truck come off the interstate. I stayed on the phone for probably, I guess, 10 seconds until I noticed the House and County SO car coming behind it with its lights and sirens on. That's when I realized that the deputy was chasing the truck. Anytime you get involved in a chase when you've got your lights and sirens on, you're going at a high rate of speed, your heart beats a little bit because you never know what's going to happen. This guy's decided not to stop for a police officer or a deputy for whatever reason. That can't be good.
Maybe 30 seconds or so, he come over the radio and said, "Come on, he's running." So I pulled out after him.
It's going to be a burgundy colored, like a Chevy or GMC pickup truck. I'll be all behind the deputy.
I probably stayed behind the deputy for couldn't been more than a couple minutes. We were at a pretty high rate of speed.
By the time I got up to speed, they had already got off the interstate and were going down the bypass. So I took a shortcut to try to block them off or cut the chase off.
This is coming to an end. Either they're going to wreck and they're all going to die, or there's going to be horrible injuries. God forbid, hit another car. So you just never know what's going to happen, but you know something's going to happen. The area that this truck went into is an industrial park, which has very sharp turns. And there was only going to be 1 or 2 ways that they could have gone. So either way, I expected an accident. As it turned out, they made an unpredicted left-hand turn down Valley Drive. It's such a sharp S-curve. You really can't hold it more than about 50 miles an hour. And they were going probably 70 to 80 plus going down that road.
When I was coming up Airport Road, that's when Chad come over the radio and said that they had just crashed.
Okay, we just 1050 right here at the bridge.
As I came through the curve, I could see the truck had wrecked up against the telephone pole.
1050 in the curve back here by the bridge.
I remember getting out of the car, we're probably no more than 20 or 30 feet from the truck that wrecked. And so as I'm running up to the truck, my gun's already out.
Get on the ground now! Get on the ground now!
Chad started walking away. I immediately figured he was going to go cut our sirens off or get a first aid kit. The sirens are so loud, you almost can't hear what's going on. They were, I'll say young kids, they were teenagers. So I went over to the passenger door and I noticed a young girl with long brown hair. She had her hands up in the air. She'd look at me and then she'd turn back and look at the driver's side door. The door had been crinkled from where the truck hit the pole. Well, I better walk over to the driver's side, because if I don't, she's liable to slide out the driver's door, which was staying open, and those 3 guys that were on the ground, they could just take off running into the woods. So as I walked around the back side of the truck, I actually started to put my gun up in my holster. I noticed that of the 3 people that were on the ground, it was 2 guys and a girl. I could still see 2 of them's hands. But I noticed that the other guy was on his knees and he had his back toward me. Not even thinking, I just walked closer to him. As he turned around, I could see the broadside of a gun swinging sideways toward me. I remember thinking to myself, is that a gun? And then it was like disbelief, like, what's he doing with a gun? Time slowed down. Next thing I knew, my ears were ringing and my arm was up in the air and my gun had dropped down and my arm was stinging, so I immediately put 2 and 2 together and knew I'd just been shot. What he used was a .45 caliber pistol that had a hollow point to expand upon impact and create a lot of damage. And I remember having enough time to think, roll that way? No, that's open field. Maybe I should go to the left because there's a fence. As I was backing up, after he shoots me, he spins and he shoots at Chad.
Whenever I got there, I saw Chris falling. I was nervous, I was shaking. I don't remember pulling my weapon. I don't remember pulling the first 5 or 6 shots. I went to the light pole and reloaded. I'm going to do what I have to do to go home at the end of the shift.
Shots fired, officer in trouble! Officer in trouble, shots fired!
Eric goes up to the window and he shoots through the back window. When he does that, the guy actually was going into the cab of his truck to get another magazine for his gun.
I was thinking Chris is still back there with this guy, and we've got to get to him. I went over the bed of the truck through the back window and took a shot at the guy. It hit him in the back of the head. It didn't kill him.
When the guy goes, picks up my gun, crawls back over to the rear tire, and he keeps shooting.
I reached up underneath the truck and I shot 5, 6, 7 times and hit him.
Eric hits him, I think, 3 times, mostly in the legs. and that's what stops it.
When it was all over with, I felt like I'd been run over by a truck. It was just such an adrenaline dump.
Hindsight's 20/20. If you had to do it over again, I would have stopped at the tailgate and kind of kept the covered position and you know, waited for him to do what he was going to do. It pretty much back to where my elbow is. I was pretty much out of commission for about a year. You know, when you sit at home and you think about it, you go, well, at least I'm here. Even if I lose my arm, it's better not to have an arm than to be dead. So you always got to look at I guess, the best part of it.
The 4 teenagers were convicted on charges that included theft and aggravated assault. They are currently serving their sentences in Ohio.